Some evolutions feel like a complete transformation. They take a card you've known for years and make it play in a totally new way. Others feel more like an upgrade than an evolution, adding power but not much personality. And that difference is what makes or breaks them, because an evolution isn't just supposed to make a card stronger. It's supposed to make it interesting. That's why today we're diving into the world of evolutions to find out what really makes a good one. Every time a new evolution drops in Clash Royale, the reactions are immediate and intense.
Skeleton take him down, and then the swarm from...
That looks insane.
Some players cry broken, some accuse Supercell of deliberately making overpowered cards to take your money, and each time the internet lights up with debates. And sure, sometimes the outrage is exaggerated. A card might seem scary at first glance, but isn't truly overpowered once you see it in play. Other times, the frustration is entirely justified. Some evolutions genuinely disrupt balance or create situations that feel unfair. But here's the key. Being strong or dominating in matches doesn't automatically make an evolution well-designed. Good evolution design isn't about raw stats or win rates. It's about how the card changes the way you play, how it interacts with other cards, and whether it introduces meaningful choices without breaking the game. A card can be extremely powerful yet feel clunky or unfair, while a weaker card can have an evolution that's clever, strategic, and deeply satisfying to use. What separates a well-designed evolution from a bad one often comes down to how the card's mechanics are implemented. Ideally, an evolution should enhance the original card without completely redefining it. It should feel like a natural progression, not a completely different card shoehorned into the game. Effects should be impactful but not permanent in a way that removes counterplay. Something that can't be responded to easily or that dominates every interaction will feel unfair no matter how strong the numbers are. Matchup balance is another crucial factor. A good evolution should provide versatility, not polarized play. If a card becomes nearly unstoppable in one type of matchup but completely useless in another, it creates an inconsistent experience that feels more frustrating than fun. Similarly, the evolution should respect the card's original identity. If a chip damage card suddenly becomes a beatdown powerhouse or a defensive troop turns into an offensive monster, it may technically be, good, but it breaks the idea of evolving a card meaningfully. Counterplay matters a lot too. A thoughtfully designed evolution still allows the opponent to respond with the same strategies they would use against the original card. If it removes or invalidates standard counters, it undermines skill-based gameplay and creates frustrating scenarios. Essentially, a good evolution opens up new strategic possibilities without closing off the game for the opponent. So when we talk about good evolutions, we're not just looking at what's powerful. We're looking at design intelligence, how the card changes the game, how it interacts with others, and whether it provides interesting decisions for both players. Some evolutions nail this perfectly, giving a fresh twist to a familiar card. Look at the Evo Musk for example. It has outplay potential, but it can still be countered as well. You can tank the sniper shots with skeletons or use a spell to take her out. Others, even if statistically strong, fail because they break interactions, feel inconsistent, or stray too far from the card's core identity. Evolved Electro Dragon, for example. It's incredible at shutting down 20 Elixir Golem beatdown pushes, but against cycle decks, it rarely has value. When evolutions were first introduced, the question has never been whether a card is strong. It's whether it feels like an evolution at all. Some evolutions take a card and give it new life, a new role, a new way to think about it. Skeletons, for example, became a completely new tool to stop big pushes, but some others, like Royal Giant, they just slapped on more HP and a knockback effect and called it a day. That distinction is crucial because in a game like Clash Royale, strength isn't the same as design quality. A card can be statistically powerful but feel boring, frustrating, or even unfair. Luckily, as time went on, they stopped with the bonus hit points and bonus damage and introduced some pretty cool mechanics. Musketeer's a great example. On the surface, she's the same classic support troop, fragile, long range, high damage. But her evolution adds those 3 sniper shots after deployment. Suddenly, she has a purpose beyond her base form. Before we talk about that purpose though, I want to talk about your purpose. Your purpose and the reason you were brought to this world is to subscribe to this channel to never miss an upload. Seriously, do it. Anyway, Musketeer's new purpose. You're no longer just placing a musketeer to chip away at units or defend. Now she's a tactical tool, a threat that forces opponents to think carefully about positioning, and crucially, it's not oppressive. Those sniper shots can be tanked with cheap units, and once they're gone, she reverts to her normal form. This is the kind of evolution that respects counterplay while giving the card a new personality. She isn't just stronger, she's more interesting. Contrast that with the P.E.K.K.A. evolution. Here the card simply heals after killing something. On paper, it's powerful. She now punishes swarms more effectively. She becomes harder to stop and can snowball if left unchecked, but does it feel clever? I mean, not really. It's the same role, the same mechanics, just harder to deal with. There's no new tactical layer, no moment of creative decision-making. It's a brute force upgrade. You're simply more likely to die to the same card that killed you before, with fewer options to counter it effectively. Strength was added, yeah, but the evolution fails the creative design test. Archers, on the other hand, show how subtle tweaks can elevate a card without making it oppressive. Their evolution gives bonus damage when targets are far away, which rewards positioning and awareness. Up close, they're still vulnerable. They haven't lost their weakness. It's a small, precise change that reshapes how the card is used and valued. It doesn't remove counterplay, it encourages skill. Contrast that with the Witch, whose evolution heals her when skeletons die, and she becomes frustrating to handle, requiring high-value spells like lightning or rocket to counter her effectively. The Witch doesn't evolve into a new role, she just punishes the opponent for playing their usual counters. Here, the line between interesting evolution and lazy buff is pretty clear. Snowball tells a bit of a different story. Originally, it was a simple spell, damage and knockback, situational at best. Its evolution lets it pull back anything on the board. Suddenly, it can disrupt pushes, reposition troops, and create moments of tactical depth. You can stop a massive push in its tracks, or force an opponent's units out of sync. And yet it's still predictable and manageable. There's a counterplay rhythm: react, predict, adapt. Compare that to the Lumberjack, whose evolution revives him as an indestructible ghost inside of a rage effect. It sounds flashy, but in practice, it punishes standard counters and forces opponents to overcommit just to remove him. It's a creative concept, don't get me wrong, but it does feel frustrating rather than clever. The ghost mode doesn't add depth, it kinda removes it. Then there's the skeleton army. Even before evolving, it had a glaring weakness. Any splash damage spell could instantly wipe it out. Its evolution introduces the skeleton general, a protective leader who shields the rest of the army. Now, small spells like Zap or Log won't automatically wipe the swarm, but the counterplay hasn't vanished entirely either. Arrows, Fireball, and Poison still work. This is a masterclass in evolution. The card keeps its identity, fixes a meaningful weakness, and adds a new tactical layer. The army isn't just stronger, it's smarter. Compare that to the cannon. Its evolution adds a barrage of cannonballs and knockback, allowing it to deal with multiple targets at once. Functionally, it is stronger, but thematically, it kind of feels off. The cannon's identity is a focused, single-target defensive tool. The evolution turns it into a generic damage dealer. There's no new role, just more raw firepower. Wizard's evolution is perhaps the best example of subtle brilliance. By giving him a shield that damages upon destruction, the card becomes harder to remove without changing his essence. It doesn't overpower him, it doesn't make him uncounterable, it just smooths out his weaknesses. This kind of evolution shows that sometimes small, precise tweaks can be more effective, both in gameplay and design philosophy, than flashy brute force changes. What ties all of these examples together is a simple idea. Good evolution isn't about increasing stats or healing. It's about creating new decision points, new interactions, and new ways to play the card. Musketeer, Archer, Snowball, Skeleton Army, and Wizard all accomplish this, each in their own ways, respecting counterplay and adding strategy. P.E.K.K.A., Witch, Lumberjack, and Cannon, by contrast, kind of fail to elevate the card beyond its base mechanics. They might feel powerful, yeah, but they don't make the game more interesting or skillful. Ultimately, evolutions are a chance to rethink a card, to add creativity and depth. When they succeed, the card feels alive, fresh, and rewarding to both use and play against. When they fail, the card just becomes frustrating or boring, and the excitement of evolution is lost. The difference isn't in the numbers, it's in the design. And that's what makes analyzing these evolutions such a fascinating thing. A small mechanic, a shield, a sniper shot, or a leader can completely change how a card interacts with the game, while a simple heal or a barrage might make it stronger but also stale. One of the most interesting aspects of evolutions is how their strength and relevance shift over time, depending on small tweaks or nerfs. A card isn't just good or bad in isolation. It exists in a system of counters, interactions, and player decisions. Some evolutions, like Musketeer, are designed to be flexible. Her sniper shots give her a new tactical role without removing counterplay. Cheap units can tank the shots, and once they're gone, she reverts to normal. Slightly adjusting damage or timing tweaks her strength without breaking the card, making her resilient across balance changes. Contrast that with P.E.K.K.A. and Witch. Their power is tied entirely to healing. P.E.K.K.A. heals on kills, Witch heals from her skeletons. Initially, this made them oppressive, punishing standard counters and forcing overcommitment. But once the healing was nerfed, both fell flat. They lost impact because their mechanics were brittle, too strong at first, then underwhelming. This kind of highlights a key lesson. A good evolution isn't just strong, it's resilient to change. Flexible evolutions survive tweaks while remaining compelling, preserving counterplay and strategy. Brittle evolutions dominate or fade, leaving the meta less dynamic. Musketeer demonstrates this. P.E.K.K.A. and Witch warn against over-reliance on a single, overpowering effect. Cycles are one of the most subtle yet powerful forces in Clash Royale, and some evolutions gain most of their value simply because they fit naturally into fast-paced, repeatable deployment. Cards like Electro Dragon, Goblin Cage, and Skeleton Army show just how critical this interaction can be. Their effectiveness isn't just about raw stats or flashy abilities, it's about how often they can be cycled and applied across the match. Take Electro Dragon. Without its evolution, it's a cheap troop capable of hitting multiple units with Chain Lightning. You know, nothing great. But its evolved form adds an extra ability, and because it only takes one card to cycle, it can constantly disrupt the opponent's pushes. Each deployment forces your opponent to react, potentially misposition troops or overcommit spells, and in fast cycle decks, Electro Dragon isn't a one-off threat like an evolved hunter might be. It's a reoccurring problem for your opponent. Its value multiplies the more often it appears, making it far more impactful than its base stats would suggest. In this case, cycling is almost like a hidden buff. Repeated exposure compounds its influence across the game. Goblin Cage shows a similar principle. Its evolution doesn't drastically increase raw stats, but it adds extra utility through extra defensive potential and more consistent defense. It can pull in a tank and fully shut it down. Because the card is cheap and easy to cycle, because like the Electro Dragon it only needs one cycle to evolve, each deployment maintains pressure and contributes to the rhythm of the match. Unlike high-cost one-shot evolutions, Goblin Cage can appear multiple times per game, repeatedly applying its effect. The repeated use doesn't just stop a push, they allow your deck to control tempo, force misplays, and generate value over time. Cycling is what makes this evolution consistently relevant. Even a moderate single-use effect becomes threatening when it can be played again and again. Skeleton Army is an even more striking example of cycling in action. Its original form is extremely fragile. A single spell like Fireball or Zap can wipe the entire swarm. The evolved version introduces that Skeleton General, protecting the rest of the army and making small spells less punishing. The key is that Skeleton Army is cheap enough to cycle multiple times, allowing the general to appear repeatedly. Each deployment reinforces the army's new mechanic, making it a recurring threat rather than a one-off defensive play. Repeated cycling ensures the evolution's protective mechanic has ongoing impact. It's not just stronger once, it's strategically present. The contrast between these cycle-friendly evolutions and slow, high-cost cards highlights an important design principle. High-cost, flashy evolutions often feel powerful when they land, but they lack consistency because they can't be repeated easily. Electro Dragon, Goblin Cage, and Skeleton Army thrive because their low cost allows repeated application, which amplifies the tactical depth of their mechanics. Each cycle adds new pressure, forces reactions, and compounds the strategic advantage. Over time, this repeated application can turn modest effects into core strategies. Giving these evolutions a far larger role in gameplay play than raw stats alone would indicate. Cycling also changes how opponents need to interact with these cards. If an evolution can appear multiple times, ignoring it once might be acceptable, but ignoring it repeatedly becomes pretty costly. Electro Dragon can easily generate positive elixir trades, and Goblin Cage interrupts tempo again and again, and Skeleton Army's General punishes underprepared defenses every cycle. The ability to repeatedly apply effects makes these evolutions less about a single overpowered moment and more about ongoing strategic pressure. In practical terms, cycle-friendly evolutions encourage skillful play rather than brute force. Something like an Evo Lumberjack might only appear once in a game and can just take a tower by himself with one misplay. I personally prefer the ones that have more value consistently than just the time when they may or may not get a lot of value. Players must plan for multiple deployments, predict responses, and manage resources over time. Slower cycled evolutions often rely on landing one big effect and then waiting for another rare chance and maybe overtime. The rhythm of repeated interaction isn't there. In contrast, Electro Dragon, Goblin Cage, and Skeleton Army and other Evos integrate into cycle decks seamlessly, providing consistent value while maintaining counterplay. Ultimately, the cycle perspective shows that repeated use is often more important than raw power. An evolution that can appear multiple times over the course of a match compounds its effects, forcing decisions, controlling tempo, and creating reoccurring tension. Cards like Electro Dragon, Goblin Cage, and Skeleton Army demonstrate that cheap, reliable evolutions can define decks and strategies, while those that rely on one-time, high-cost deployments risk inconsistency and fade once balance shifts. In the world of evolutions, cycling isn't just a tempo tool. It's a measure of relevance, strength, and design quality. Hey, if you like the content and you want more of it, I'm sure there's a video for you to click on screen right now, so I'll see you there.